Guys, I just wanted to make a little video here, talk about something that I've talked about here before, and now I want to show you some proof of why you should not do what I've been saying and a lot of other people have been saying for years. And that is, don't open your front door ever. Talk right through the door of your home. Don't let your kids open your door. I've had people before tell me, well, I just don't feel right doing that and it feels rude. You know what? You can throw all that out the window. The safety of you and your family comes first. When you go to your door, if somebody knocks on your door, you can talk to them right through the door. Once you create a gap in that door, that leaves a vulnerability there for somebody to be able to push their way in much easier than they would have if the door was just closed and locked. Now, I'm going to tell you guys why you shouldn't do that and show you some things here that were recent in the media that you had seen all over TV. And then I'm going to tell you a story time about something that happened to me while I wasn't in the house. Somebody tried to get one over on me. I'm going to explain to you exactly what happened and how I handled this when they tried to pull one on me and get something from me. So first of all, what you have to understand is, unfortunately, it's hard to discern who really may need help and who might not need help. Okay, these modern day either drug addicts, whatever, criminals, homeless people that are out there, they know every line and every trick in the book to tell you, to try to tug at you, pull on your heartstrings, to get you to give them some money so that they can go get more drugs. Now, I know of an outreach place that works with the homeless in one of the cities I deal with. And believe it or not, these people actually have places that they can go with family members or extended family members. But because the family members tell them no drugs and alcohol in my home, these people actually choose to go back out and live on the street, believe it or not. That's the 100% truth. Not all of them do, but a lot of them actually have a place they can go. But the rule is, you cannot use drugs in my home or outside of my home, or alcohol in or outside of my home. But you can come here and stay until you get on your feet, get working, and get your own place. And instead of quitting what they do, the people will then choose to just live on the street. So let me put up a picture here, and I'm going to explain to you what happened and how close this could have been to a home invasion and possibly people being hurt or killed. What you are looking at right here is Darrell Brooks. This is after he just ran over women and children, ran through a parade, literally murdered people in cold blood using an SUV, and then he goes and ditches the SUV, goes up to this home, a random home, knocks on the door, says he's homeless, says he called an Uber, says he's cold. And unfortunately, this guy does exactly what you should not do, but fortunately, nothing happened. And I'll give you the reasons why I don't think anything happened in this case. This family was lucky. So this is Brooks there on the Ring doorbell as he's knocking on the door, waiting for the guy. He's going to give him this big song and dance. I'm homeless. I'm cold. I called an Uber. You know, can I just come in or whatever? And the guy does actually let him in. And now I'm going to tell you why I think that nothing happened. So here's the guy with the hat on there that you can see on the porch that had actually opened the door and let him in. Darrell Brooks was a coward. That's why he used a car to kill people. He didn't want to be anything near or have any hands in on the killing because he was a complete and utter coward. He wanted to be protected behind a 4,000-pound vehicle while he ran over literally old women and children. Some of the people that were killed were in this band that was, I think they called it the Granny Band or something. It was older women, and it was even kids that he ran over. And now 2 detectives that were on scene there have stated that he purposely swerved and ran into the people. He wasn't just giving it gas and just making his own path. He literally was swerving into the people that was there. So we've got that established. He's a huge coward. And if this had been a small woman or a just really any woman or a kid that had opened the door, this guy would have probably overpowered them. And who knows what else he would have done to that family in the home if it had not been for this guy that just was a bigger guy. He looks like he's 6'3". And this could have been the only thing that prevented Brooks from doing something to the family in that home. This is why I say never open your door no matter what. Holler through the door. Watch out for these scam artists that are out there on the streets, these drug addicts or, drug dealers or whoever they are, and they're going to come up and they're going to give you a song and dance about what they need and why they need it, and they're going to throw you every line in the book, and they know how to act, and they know the right look to give you, and they know how to say it. But I'm telling you, watch your back. Don't get scammed. Maybe everybody in your life that you deal with is a good and honest person, and maybe you're lucky enough to live in an area where you've never dealt with bad people. And let me tell you, people that knows about the streets and is street smart, they know that in 1 second what can happen. So you just may have good thoughts and intentions about everybody when you first see them or meet them. But the thing is, you got to know that that's not the world we're living in, unfortunately. Okay, now to the story time of what happened to me, where somebody tried to pull one over on me. This was just not long ago. This was last summer here near where I live. And I was walking at some parks and things at night. And there's an area that I was near where most people won't be at night. And I just seen this guy, tall and lanky, just strolling down, the way. Didn't really think anything of it. Just had on basketball shorts and a t-shirt. Pretty tall, pretty lanky guy. And I'll tell you why I'm explaining that here in a minute, about being tall and lanky. I'll tell you that in a minute. There's a reason for that. So as this guy is getting closer and closer, I'm across the little road, and I'm in another part of this park, and I'm walking my dog. And as he's getting closer, he's like, hey, and I'm just like, oh, here we go. I'm like, here we go. Like, I don't even feel like dealing with this guy right now. So what he says to me is, he says, hey, do you have a phone? I don't have mine. I left it at somebody's house or something. He said it was dead, or he has it and it's dead. I can't remember, one of those two things. He says, I just saw somebody molesting a kid, a little kid. And then he says it was two people molesting a kid. Already, just as this guy, the way he's walking, the way he's approaching, the way he's talking, red flags were just popping up all over the place. I knew something wasn't right. This guy's just casually strolling down to me, just casually, just swaying in the wind. And yeah, he's going to tell me he just witnessed a felony, two people committing a felony on a child, and he's this casual and calm. So this is the first thing I say. What's their description? The people that molested the kid, what's their description? And he starts stuttering and backpedaling. What kind of vehicles were they in? Again, stuttering, backpedaling, trying to get his story straight, trying to think about things. What color was the vehicles? What this guy didn't know was that I was in the area, in that whole area, and where he was at, not many people go. And I know that when he told me that two people left in two different cars out of there, that didn't happen. I know that didn't happen. And number two, I just knew the way the guy was approaching me, that didn't happen. So you guys might say, well, what was he trying to do? What this guy was going to do was he expected me to be a sucker, a sucker that just thinks the best intentions about everybody, and just pull my phone out of my pocket and hand it straight to him, and then he was just going to hightail it. He knew there was no way I would catch him, and I had my dog with me, but he knew there was no way I'd have been able to catch him. And like I said, remember the tall and lanky part? Had I handed my phone to this guy, like a lot of people would, I didn't make no shocked looks. I didn't do nothing when he was telling me he just seen two people molesting a kid. There's people out there that'll just believe this stuff and eat it up right away without even thinking or analyzing the situation and what's going on around them. And had this guy got a hold of my phone, he was going to take off and hit the road with my phone. Might have even asked me to open the phone for him, and in that way, when he took off running, he could have went in and turned off the passcode and just had an open, iPhone 12 Pro Max. So basically what I told the guy was I was like, basically, I told him this in a nutshell. I know what you're doing. I know you're out here trying to scam. I suggest that you get out of my face and get out of here, even though he wasn't close to me at all. I suggest you get out of my face and get out of here before I call a car down here to come run your name through the system and see if you got any warrants. And that guy was gone. He was gone. Like, he didn't he didn't seem to care anymore about what he had told me had just happened. So unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that haven't been around this. How can I say this? They haven't been around the streets much. They haven't been around bad areas much, and they don't really realize. They get caught up in their own little world, right? And then when somebody comes up to them with a sob story, they believe them. There's been guys that's abducted women before by telling them that they had a sick child in the car and could the woman help him. The woman says, "Oh my goodness, yes, let me see what I can do." The woman leaves the establishment or the store, goes to the car with the guy. As he's getting ready to open the door, he grabs her and abducts her. This has happened in the United States because people just don't realize gut feeling is everything. Can you be wrong on gut feelings? Absolutely, you can be wrong on gut feelings. But when you learn some of the way things are on the streets, and you learn how these criminals, how they act and how they portray things and how they do things, you get a feel for when you're getting handed a line of BS. And it happens a lot. More times than not, it's always a line of BS. Like we've got people around that beg all the time. It's a big thing to beg for money on the corner of the highway. The ones that I'm finding now in some of these towns, these guys that are going to the highway exits and begging, it's just like they're going into work. They've got chairs, they've got bags with food and drinks, they've got little things laying on the ground, like different signs they can hold up. I'm like, man, this is getting crazy. They're literally, one of them had a chair like you would find in the lobby of like a motel room somewhere. An armchair. And he's got this on the side of the highway, the exit. He's got like a duffel bag beside of him. I can see like water bottles in the pocket. And he's got like, I see different pieces of cardboard laying there with, different stuff written on different signs. And I'm thinking, man, these guys are getting pretty elaborate. Almost like their own little office. I won't be surprised if I come back one day and they got a desk and a laptop sitting there. But like I said, guys, this has been told to people for years. Like people that get told this are people that's been in domestics, and the person that's in fear for their life, celebrities, anybody high profile that could have threats to their life. They've been told for years, don't open your door. Never open your door. The general public doesn't get this kind of training and kind of knowledge from people just in general, but you don't open your door. You just talk right through the door. If you don't know them, if they've got no business being there. Like I had a guy come here like last year to shovel snow. It was legit. He was going up and down. We had a big snow and he had a snow shovel. And I basically just told him, I'm not interested in your trespassing on private property. That's all I said. Just let the guy go on his merry way. I didn't threaten him, didn't do any of this, because, and keep in mind, I've got an enclosed porch too. So he was technically, you're technically almost in my house when you come up on my porch because it's brick just like my house. And when you enter the first door to that enclosed porch, you are now inside the first part to enter my house. But like I said, I didn't do anything crazy. I just told him, hey, I'm not interested and you're trespassing on private property. Don't come back on my property is what I said. And I left it at that. So I just want to make this message for everyone. As you can see how after that guy killed people, this guy brought him into his home and even made him a ham sandwich. He sat there and ate it. And then they come to find out what had happened. Had that been a woman or a small child that had opened that door, we would be talking about a whole different story here, because that would have been something that would have escalated into something way worse, and he would have took them captive in that home and locked all the doors down. I'm sure at the least is what he would have done. So, all right, guys, until next time, this is DOF, and I am out of there.